I'm Lily Madwhip, and I'm here for Hekate. There once was a little girl named Lillian, who was blessed by the angels and could see things before they happened. But because she was so little and told people she heard angels, almost nobody listened. They didn't listen, and her cousin got run over by a boat. They didn't listen, and her brother got mashed by a truck. They didn't listen, and her third best friend burned her house down. She got real tired of people not listening. Then one day, she saw this black dog following her. It turned out to be the boogeyman. The boogeyman was actually a girl and took her to meet the queen of witches who lived in a maze of closet doors. This maze. Stupid maze. I sit and look at my companion, which is a skeleton. It's a naked skeleton. I wonder if it had clothes on once, or if it died here naked. I'm glad I got clothes on. When I die, I'm gonna die in this shirt with a penguin on it and my stretchy jeans that look like they got pockets, but they're fake pockets. A big black spider with long, hairy legs crawls out of the skeleton's nose hole. Nope, that's my cue to get back to walking in this stupid maze. You'd think that being able to see things before they happen would help when you were lost, right? Like, should I go around this corner? No, because that way leads to a dead end. But I've been stuck in this stupid maze for hours, maybe days. It feels like forever. Just halls full of doors to people's closets. How many stupid closets are there in the world? I want to burn all the closets down now. Seriously, stop making closets, people. You're killing me. I know they're closets. I've looked in them. Every door I open leads to a closet. Maybe some are real closets in the real world, but I can't be sure. Maybe they're all fake closets. Imaginary closets. Why do we even have closets? They're just little rooms attached to other rooms to put stuff in so you don't see it. Make the other room bigger and get a chest or a box or something. Maybe get rid of stuff if you don't want to see it. You make a closet, you're just asking for monsters to hide in it. I always knew monsters were real because my mom used to say that her nana had skeletons in her closet, and they had to have come from somewhere. Maybe that was one of them I just left. It makes me dizzy seeing these endless halls of doors. Also, the flickering torches make my head hurt behind my eyes. I take to looking at my feet most of the time, only looking up to make sure I'm not going to run into a wall or something. Probably another 10 minutes go by of turning down more hallways. And then I notice something. There's a red piece of string coming out from under one of the doors. And it seems to go off down the hall ahead of me. The door's made of stone, or at least made to look like it is. It looks like polished marble. There's gold bits around the edges. It's really fancy. I'm almost tempted to open it, but I think the string is more interesting. It must lead somewhere. Either someone unwound it leading to this door, or going from it. Either way, it ends somewhere, and it's not a skeleton with a spider in its head, and it's not a stupid closet door, so I'm gonna follow it. Another amount of time goes by following this string, and I start to wonder if the person who left it here was a prankster or just as lost as I am, because this thing is going nowhere. But then I turn another corner because that's all there is to do these days, turn corners, and there's a big room in front of me. Yay, right? But it's not Hekate's throne room, it's more like Hekate's dungeon. That's like a jail, but if you're ever in a dungeon, you'd much rather be in jail. The whole room is made of stone blocks, but not nice stone blocks, more like wet, uneven blocks. And there's a smell like I smelled once at a public bathroom at the mall on a really hot day when the water was out. There's cages with rusty bars all over the place, some even hanging from the ceiling on chains like big bird cages. By which I mean bird cages that are human-sized. not a cage for Big Bird. Some even have people in them. Only, they're not totally people. There's a man slouched over in a tiny cell and his arms are octopus arms. He looks really unhealthy, probably because he can't pick up food with his tentacles. There's a stone bowl by his feet and I can't tell if what's in it is supposed to be a meal before or after he ate it. It makes me feel barfy just looking at it. The man doesn't even look up when I come in the room. Hello? Someone whispers. They sound hoarse. Not like a horse. Horses don't say hello. Horse is hoarse, like they're thirsty and their throat is dry. I look around. There's maybe 3 other people sitting up in cages. One is a lady with half her head missing. I can see her brain, I think. She stares off into space and draws in the air with her finger. I'm just gonna pretend I don't see her because she frightens me. There's a man in some sort of big glass tank filled with nasty green water. He's got a giant mouth where his belly button should be, and it's suctioned to the side of the tank like a leech. There's all these little teeth in the tummy mouth, and they make munchy motions. There's no eyes in his eye sockets. But there's a big green eye in his face mouth, and it's staring at me. I nervously approach the weird man in the tank. Are you talking to me, Mr. Suck Tummy? The voice comes from behind me. Behind you. I turn around. There's nobody there. Are you playing tricks on me? Who is this? Look up. I look up. There's a man hanging upside down. At first I think he's floating, but then I see he's got chains on his legs. He's wearing some sort of weird brown cape that seems to hug his body even though he's upside down. It's hard to describe his features because he's upside down and it makes his face look weird, but there's something off about him beyond that. Please, he says. He sounds out of breath, but I doubt he's been running. Please let down. I look at the chain above him. How do I do that? The upside-down man wiggles a bit, trying to gesture with his chin. Over. By MARCUM. There's that lever. Stay away from mess. He goes quiet and his eyes roll up into his head, which I guess is down into his head because he's upside down. I don't know what he means by what's it. I look in the direction he wiggled his chin, but there's just an empty cage. Just past it is a wooden lever like something out of a video game. It's just set into the wall, not attached to anything. It looks heavy. First off, I say, holding up one finger dramatically, that lever isn't by anything. Second, I'm not letting you down unless you promise not to eat me. Third, I mean it about the second thing. Don't eat me. The man nods excitedly. I know no harm you. Pinky promise? I stick my hand up to him. He's close enough that he can probably reach. He looks confused. Pinky? I wiggle my pinky finger at him. Pinky finger promise you won't eat me. I don't have... He looks sad, I think. But he's upside down, so maybe he's smiling? Maybe he doesn't have pinkies. I wouldn't smile if I didn't have pinkies. Pinkies are the second best finger after the index fingers. At least I think so. Roger has a different opinion on favorite fingers. Okay, well, I'll just pretend we pinky promised and you better not break it. Because if you do, I'm a really powerful person. Do you know what a pigopotamus is? No. I nod. It's better that way. They're pretty mean. Anyway, I'll let you down. The man shudders. I can't see his arms, probably because they're tied up under the brown robe he's wearing. And maybe that's why he can't pinky promise. Or maybe he's got octopus arms like that other guy in the little cell. Then again, maybe he's got spider arms like the black hairy ones on the one that came out of the skeleton's nose. Oh God, why did I think that? I walk over to the lever, but just as I'm passing the empty cage, the man yells to me, too close to MrCreepyPasta. In the same instant, I hear a snuffling sound to my left. No, my right. I always get them mixed up. I hear a sound on my right, and then something roars from inside the empty cage. I shriek and jump left, away from the cage. But I feel needles in my arms and hear a ripping sound. When I look down, my awesome penguin shirt is shredded on the right sleeve, and there's blood running down my arm. It doesn't hurt at first, but a second later my arm starts to throb. Hey, ow! I yell and clutch my injured arm.
I warned you. Stay from MARCUM.
Mr. Hanging Helper seems to pass out again. I don't know what that is, I shout back. I look at the empty cage and can see the blood sort of floating in the air in the shape of some thin, curved claws. Then something makes a gurgling noise that sounds a bit like laughter, and a slurpy noise later. The blood isn't there anymore. Oh great, you could have told me it was an invisible Freddy Krueger. His eyes flutter open.
I know what Krueger is.
Fair enough. They probably don't watch too many movies here in the dungeon. I take a moment to tear the rest of my sleeves off and wrap it around my boo-boo. Poor penguin shirt is gonna have to go in the trash when I get home. Maybe I could get my mom to cut the penguin off the front and sew it onto another shirt. She's good at stuff like that. I miss her. The lever is really heavy. I pull on it as hard as I can and it doesn't seem to budge. Eventually, I try just hanging from it like a monkey bar and it creaks like an old door and slides down, making me fall off. There's a jangling of metal behind me and a big thud. The man in the brown robe is flopped onto the floor under a pile of chains. He lays there a while and I start to wonder if maybe I broke his neck dropping him on his head like that. But then he moves, struggling to get up, and I'm about to come over to help him untie his arms when the robe opens and reveals that they're not robes, but a big pair of brown leathery wings. His arms end at little claw-like hands. He wasn't kidding about not having pinky fingers. I realize that the reason his face seems so weird upside down is because his nose is bent upward and he's got one of those cleft lip things like a doggy or a cat's got. Oh my God. I whisper. You're Batman. Well, a Batman. The man-bat guy stretches, arching his wings. For a second, I think he's gonna break his pinky promise and eat me, but he doesn't, obviously, because I'm alive to tell you about it.
Hippasus,
he says, touching one of his little claw hands to his chest.
I thank you.
He blinks big black eyeballs. I'm Lily Madwhip and I'm here for Hekate.
Witch Queen.
Hip Sauce touches his claw hands to his face gently.
Forgive. Ugly. Witch Queen cursed us all.
I shrug. I've seen worse. Heck, I got little webs between my big toe and the next one. I think I must be part duck. I don't want to downplay his feelings, though, by trying to one-up him on gross features. Hekate hurt you? I'm here to kill her. Sort of.
This is her playroom. You need go audience chamber.
Well, this place is kind of a maze. I look over at the woman with half her head missing. She's staring at her hands. I wonder if she wants out of her cage as well. It would be cruel to not free the other people, but then where would they go? Out into the real world? They'd be shot by some hunters probably, or end up in a circus with the dog-faced boy. I wonder if the dog-faced boy came from here. I've never actually been to the circus, except the one with just elephants and clowns. I've never been to the kind of circus where you can go see dog-faced people and contortionists.
Labyrinth is endless.
Hipsauce strokes his chin.
But there, order to it. Doors added on to end of serpent's tail. Oldest doors are closets to mouth of beast.
Okay. I don't know when we got started on talking about snakes. So how does that help us?
Go in direction of older doorways.
Hipsauce flexes his wing arms and looks at them the same way Roger used to look at my paintings I do in my room all the time. I'd say it's 2 parts amusement and 3 parts disgust. Roger never liked my paintings, probably because I painted stuff I saw, which was things like my fish rotting and floating in its tank, or my poor Ninja Turtle Donatello. Now all I have of Donatello is his shell that got run through the dishwasher and a stick I made look like a bow staff. Do you think we should let the rest out? I ask. The man with the leech mouth in his tummy thumps against the side of his tank. I can't tell if he's excited about the idea of getting out. I'm not sure if letting him out won't kill him. It kind of looks like he needs to live in the water now. His eye in his face mouth looks at me and a big cloud of purple ink squirts out from behind him. I scrunch up my nose. Yeah, he can stay in his tank. I look back at Hipsauce, but the room is suddenly all red. The other people are lying in their cages with their eyes and mouths open and there's blood running out of them. I look back. The tank of water with the tummy-mouthed man is just a big, cloudy tank of blood. Only the lady with the half a face seems to still be alive, but considering half her head is gone, I wonder if anything can kill her. Hipsauce is in the center of the room, kind of all over the place because something has torn all his parts off. His head is pressed up against the bars of the cage with the half-faced woman in it. His tongue is hanging out slightly, and she's just staring calmly down at him. There's all this nasty, gross stuff splattered around where his parts are. I don't understand. I don't know what happened. They're all dead, and... The room is normal again. Well, normal for a stinky dungeon with cages full of people mixed with animals. Hipsauce is saying something, but I can't really hear him because my ears are ringing. I was seeing things before they happen again. This whole room is going to get slaughtered. I have to let them out. Something bad is about to happen, I tell Hipsauce. He cocks his head like a dog and his ears move on their own. I look around for more levers to pull, but there doesn't seem to be any. Someone's gonna kill everybody in here.
Who?
Hipsauce cocks his head.
How?
I don't know. I just know that you're gonna get ripped to pieces if we don't do something. Hipsauce looks past me at the empty cage.
Mazi Kim,
he whispers.
It is fury. Don't let out.
I shake my head. I wasn't planning on it, but look, maybe it gets out somehow anyway. I've seen it. We need to get everyone else out.
Keys.
My new bat friend gestures towards one of the archways leading out of the dungeon.
Maybe in there.
I dash through the big arch. I didn't realize there was a room connected to the other room. It looks like somebody's office. There's a big desk and a drafting table like what my Uncle George has in his house. It's like a regular table, but it's tilted and your plate and glass slide off of it and your cookies and milk fall on the floor, and then Uncle George tells you to use the regular table for eating and Roger looks at you like you're a dummy. There's drawings of people on the walls. Some of them look normal, but they're naked. They're holding spears and shields and wielding helmets. Okay, so not naked, they got helmets. and poking at snakes with 7 or 8 heads and lions and big water snakes, and there's a guy riding a Pegasus. They're all flat and no effort was put into them. I'm a better artist than whoever drew these drawings. Not to brag. The table is covered with better drawings. I think maybe someone else did these because they're really detailed. They show how the arm connects to the body and how the leg connects to the body and all the muscles and bones in them. And then there's other drawings under those that have similar drawings of people, but show how a tentacle attaches to the body or how a mouth on someone's tummy connects to their stomach and guts. There's even one with a really good drawing of the half-faced lady. It shows her with a full face, but there's a dotted line that seems to match up with exactly how much of her head is missing. There's a quicker, looser sketch of a man's head with the same dotted line, and the other side of his face shaded out. Between them are arrows pointing away from 2 different heads toward each other. I think this is a plan. Whoever did this is going to stitch half a man's head to the half-faced woman. Under the sloppy drawing of the male head, somebody wrote in cursive. Fortunately, I can read cursive. It says, subject to RTM. Did Hekate do this? Has she been cutting people apart and stitching them together like dolls with other things? Why would she do that? I thought she was magic. I look back through the archway. Hipsauce is playing with the chains wrapped around his ankles. Maybe they're tied in one of those sailor knots they teach you how to do in the Scouts. I was never good at those. I probably shouldn't stand here and watch him struggle when any second the invisible Freddy Krueger monster thing could get loose somehow and murder everybody in the room. Oh hey, there's a set of keys hanging right there on the wall by the arch. I must have passed them on the way in. They're really high up, so I grab the stool by the slanted drafting table and carry it over to reach them. There's about 7 or 8 old-looking keys on the keyring. I hop down off the stool and run back into the nasty dungeon full of cages, about the same time that Hipsauce manages to get 1 foot free from the chain. I've got the keys, I announce. Hipsauce looks up. The man with the tentacle arms looks up in his cage. Even the lady with half a face who's going to be getting a faceotomy looks up. Ew, no, look back down. I can see inside your head. The tummy man in the water tank blurbles and squirts more ink. Oh god, okay, I don't know what to do about him. What is going on in here? Snakebutt enters the room. All the people in the cages start wailing and banging on their bars. Hipsauce makes a horrible, ear-splitting shriek and flaps his arm wings. Witch Queen! He screams. Wait, that's not the Witch Queen, that's Snakebutt. I clench the ring of keys tight so a couple of the keys poke through between my fingers. Maybe I can weaponize these keys. Oh, who am I kidding? She's adult-sized, even though she's got a snake butt. I can't beat an adult. How dare you? Snakebutt hisses. Ha! She even hisses like a snake. Oh, I pissed her off. She reaches to her hip where she keeps some sort of knife dagger thing in a... what's it called? A sheath? A scabbard? I don't know what the difference is between the two. Anyway, she's got this really sharp, shiny, stabby thingy in her hand and murder eyes in her face. I've got a set of keys poking through my little fingers and I'm already bleeding from my good arm. I'm so hosed. Snakebutt slithers across the room on her snake butt, whipping her tail back and forth and moving fast. I was not expecting someone with a snake fur about to be able to move quite as fast as she does. I swing my fist at her, trying to maybe tear her guts open like a velociraptor, but I miss wide and she slaps the keyring out of my hand, letting it fly across the room somewhere. Well, she grabs me by the neck with the same hand and slams me up against the wall. Oh god, this is it. She's going to carve me like a Thanksgiving turkey. Or any turkey, really. Nobody carves live turkeys. That'd be kind of crazy. She's kind of crazy, though, so maybe she'd do that. Snakebutt leans in close, and I can smell something so nasty and rotten on her breath. I bet for all their magic, they've never created magic toothbrushes. Oh God, it stinks so bad in her mouth that I really hope she kills me before eating me just so I don't have to have that smell be the last thing in my senses when I go. Maybe I'll get to see Pasture when it happens. That'll be nice. You don't deserve your gift, she hisses angrily. I'm the true witch queen. No, you're not. You're just a snake-butted wannabe. Stop calling me that. Snakebutt! I shout. She screams in my face, getting all her spit in my eyes. Yuck. I'm going to show Mother how worthy I am. I hold onto her wrist as she lifts me off my feet. If I let go, it's going to start choking me. So go kill her yourself and let me go home. I feel her grip tighten around my throat. Little fool. You think I would be here making these pathetic imitations of her pets if I had an ounce of magic in me? I don't know. I'm just a little girl. I kick my legs at her feebly. And that's all you'll ever be. She grits her teeth and squeezes harder. But I'm not just a little girl, am I? I'm the knife that cuts the veil, damn it! I'm supposed to be someone great and powerful, apparently. So important that Hekate herself sent her goon squad into my world to fetch me. I need to go home. I need to see my mom again. I need to... Snakebutt suddenly reels back, screaming. Blood splatters across my face and I tumble to the ground. I'm blinded by it for a moment and wipe my eyes. When I can see again, Snakebutt is writhing on the floor and there's a set of big, nasty gashes in her side, leaking steamy blood onto the rocks. Behind her, Hip Sauce is perched on top of the empty cage that has the invisible Freddy Krueger thing in it. The door to the cage is wide open, and the keyring is hanging from the lock with the key stuck in it. Snakebutt slashes the air with her stabby knife. A moment later, another huge gash appears in her arm and she screams again, dropping her weapon. She reaches up and seems to get her hand on something that I can't see. Whatever it is, it struggles against her grip, and she swats it with the back of her tail, causing it to tumble off of her. Filthy demon! She curses, sitting up quickly and clutching at her torn arm. The invisible whatever it's called growls. I wish I could see what it looks like because I bet it looks kind of like a dog, and I love dogs. Not this demon dog because it tried to kill me, but dogs in general are very nice. If you have a dog, give it a good petting. Run! Hipsauce shouts to me. I can't run. If I run, I know exactly what's going to happen. I've seen it. I've seen Hipsauce torn to pieces, blood all over the place. Everything in this room dies. I've got to do something. I know. There's something missing from all this. It's not a labyrinth without a minotaur. Something bellows loudly from the hallway, making the entire room shake. Everything stops. Snakebutt freezes in her tracks, holding her little dagger with her other hand, and looks up in confusion. Hipsauce blinks his big black eyes and looks around trying to figure out where the noise came from. Even the invisible dog demon doesn't seem to be moving, I think. It stops growling at least. And then an enormous man with a bowl for a head, just the head of the bowl, not the whole bowl, marches into the room, so large that he has to duck under the archway. He's giant and muscular and wearing huge metal pants. In his hand is a big battle axe like I see dwarves in movies holding. He's perfect. My Minotaur champion. He says nothing. I don't even know if he can since he's got a bowl for a head, but he stares at Snakebutt and snorts angrily. Really? Snakebutt makes one of those half smiles at me. A Minotaur? You think I can't handle... And then the Minotaur's axe cuts her stupid head clean off. The blade keeps going, swinging across the room like a giant saw blade. I'm thankfully out of the way, over by the wall where Snakebutt dropped me, but the axe shears right through the metal bars of one of the cages, too, cutting halfway through the poor, tentacled man, who doesn't shout or scream, just sort of accepts death quietly. Snakebutt's body flops onto the ground and her head bounces over toward the empty cage Hipsauce is perched on. He looks at it with surprise and his mouth is a big O. I can see into the neck stump of Snakebutt's body, and I'm gonna have that image burned in my brain forever now. My Minotaur grunts with satisfaction. He tries to dislodge his big axe from the cage and the dead tentacle man, but it seems to be kinda stuck. I don't care at this point because Snakebutt is dead, so mission accomplished. I'm sorry, Mr. Tentacle Arms, that you were also taken out. I'll try to convince myself that you were happy to be freed. I wonder what your name was. I wonder if you had a family who will never know what happened to you. I wonder where the invisible demon dog went. Hey, I shout. Hipsauce, do you see the invisible demon thingy? Hipsauce cocks his head like a doggy again and stares at me with big black eyes. The master key or whatever it's called?
Mazikin?
He says.
No.
He shrugs. That could be bad. The slashes on my arm are already starting to burn. I need to find some soap and water and wash it or else it could get infected. And I don't want to think about what kind of infection you could get from an invisible demon. I hurry over to the cage Hipsauce is perched on. He sits there silently and watches me as I grab the keys he used to let the demon out. I hold them up to him. Let everybody else out, I say. Leave the guy who sprays ink out of his butt, though. The guy in the water tank with the mouth in his tummy blurbles. Yeah, that guy.
Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I wanted to tell you thank you for watching tonight's video or listening to tonight's podcast. You can find MrCreepyPasta Storytime on any kind of podcasting platform if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening to the podcast already, you can find MrCreepyPasta on YouTube. A huge thank you to all you guys who show support by subscribing to the channel or following the podcast and coming back episode by episode. I really appreciate that, and I really want to tell you all thank you for what you've done. If you always want to find more from me, you can on Instagram at Billy the Skeleton. That's me, Billy the Skeleton, all one word. That's the only MrCreepyPasta account there. And on Twitter at MrCreepyPasta, then the number 0. I'm also on Patreon. You can find a whole bunch of other people supporting on Patreon in the description down below, but there is a very, very special thank you to these people in particular. Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Creepypasta Adam, Ken Lando Higuchi, Mazakine, Champinski, The Red Oak Shield Virus, G Weevil 3, Diana Kraus, Stephen Van Huss, Chance Burton, Tristan Pelton, Nico Cow, The Ginger Bros, Last Blade Song, Eliminator 86, Steampunk Sinner, Caleb Dougal, Sky Harbor, The Homeless Bird 93, Bobby Carmen, Liam Newman, Aaron Stormcrow, Barbara Maceo, Thomas Burgett, Azazel Rotten, S-Man, Kirisuba, Bad Honey, Someone You Love, Said the King 56, Somber Puppet, Wolfie Nums, Shadow Morningstar, Sean Mills, Jesse Gonzalez, Mad Marstomp, Z. Kearley, Cassie Core, Mr. Thud, and Patrick Schoolmeister. These guys are the real MVPs, and all of you who are listening are also the real MVPs. Stay safe, everyone, and sweet dreams.